Exactly. Exactly.
Hey, there he is.
What's up, Chuck?
Not much, Stan.
That's what I say to my kids all the time. What's up, Chuck? Uh, what's up, buddy? Go trick or treating tonight?
No, I was out and I forgot that it was Halloween, to be honest,
Wow.
because all the parties were last night and the night before.
Yeah.
So,
I got a
um,
scary background here. I got scary.
yeah, I see that one.
It's good.
Yeah. Um,
It's impossible to avoid Halloween in this house.
yeah. No, my daughter's gotten to the point where the costumes turn into like nightclub outfits, and uh, everybody's like a senior in high school or a freshman at U of M at these parties. So, she's
Yeah,
kind of
that's a little
fully moved on.
disconcerting.
Well, no, what it is, I told her mom about this. I'm like, these poor kids, they were basically the seniors. You know, they basically were been locked up for like the last quarter of freshman year, all of sophomore year. And I can't remember when senior year, junior year, like last year when they all started. It was the beginning of the year or a little bit in. And so then last year they, realized, oh, wow, we didn't learn as much in online. And
Right?
then they're trying to play catch up, and then now socially they're all just ready to you know go nuts.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got to let them do what they're going to do.
Yep.
um, just kind of try to limit the choice selection menu for them a little bit.
There you go.
But yeah, so I'm just preparing for all of that. You better get ready too, because these Miami kids like to start
It's so fucking just
doing stuff young, basically.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Hold
All right. James said, "Don't get egg, Joe. Get some candy."
on. This. Remember when we were kids? It was called like Devil Night or something like that, where you'd go out, pranking everybody. And
Yeah.
then once you got to a certain age, it's just the old stuff. Remember as kids, the flaming bags of dog poo on the front
Yeah. So
porch,
people stamp it out. Yeah.
toilet papering houses,
Exactly.
TPing them, all that kind of donuts in the front yard. And I don't mean eating them,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Car
kind of
donut.
stuff. That
Yeah.
nowadays you'd probably go to jail for half of that shit.
Yeah. It's kind of risky. It's kind of risky. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Let's take a look at the market. Yes, sir.
Oh, I
Okay.
thought, look, big Friday, of course. So
Yep.
equities, minor sideways stuff going on earlier. Ethan BTC gave a little bit back. Got a big week of macro coming. I think we have some Fed news this week, and there was a whole bunch of inflation data in other countries that went out. I mean, just a lot of data over the weekend.
Yeah.
So, I think we're gonna, um, kind of continue this trend that I sort of tweeted about from Morgan Stanley, which is, sort of feeling like S&P is going to go up to about 4150 from where it is now, before starting to feel the effects of, say, if there is a U.S. Slowdown, let's say,
Right.
or if it's a soft landing. But that's like mid 23. So it looks like the sequence is Europe first, and whatever's going to happen there, it looks like everything I see is recession, and then how long does it take for all that to cascade into the U.S. market? Which
Right.
sounds to me to be about 6 months. But that doesn't mean it's all going to tank or anything. That just means that they're saying, just like Sean talks about that little run up, I think to 25-ish for BTC and then down.
Yep.
With this, they're saying S&P run up to 4150 and then movement down in some way, shape, or form. So not bad news. The curious thing is going to be how the market reacts to whatever this Fed hike is, which I think is this week. And since it's so close to the election, I'm curious as to what they're actually going to do. I mean, everybody's saying 75 bips. But, do you really? I mean, I guess if that's what 86% of the market expects, then you go ahead and pull the trigger because you're not political. But, it would be interesting if they went in anything off of 75, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right. Right.
But I don't see anything in the market. To me, I'm just seeing tremendous amounts of cash flowing from Europe and Asia into US dollar investments right now. And that's got to be what's holding the stock market up as well as it is. So you see a rage like that on Friday where I think it was up 835 points or something like that. where's that money coming from?
Right.
It ain't coming out of like the private equity guys and stuff, because that money's kind of getting sucked out in the U.S. So there's not a lot of extra cash, I think, sitting around in those areas. It has to be cash moving. And so, again, Fed rates are higher. So, when they do this hike this week, that's going to accelerate that trend.
Yeah,
because
true.
Again, think about yield chasing, when you're sitting there with 10 billion, 5 billion, and you're looking at 3 versus 1, 3% versus 1%, that's a huge difference.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know. Again, I'm looking at it from where I'm sitting. I know my European pals are going to take it harder, and China's taking it harder. But, that's just the way it is, I guess.
Yeah, totally agree. Sean says, have a relationship with your kids' dealers. Make sure they're only getting the good stuff.
No, absolutely.
There you go.
I'll tell you what, all these kids are vaping and stuff like that. And, to me, I'm more of an organic guy. I kind of like the real stuff because I don't trust the manufacturing process. But, you've got to like watch that, because there's like bootleg, Stizzies. I was looking at Shizzy. I think it's Stizzy. There's like a contained vape thing. And then there's bootleg carts that people just make in their friggin' basement or something.
Right.
So, you got to make sure that, what I tell all these seniors is that don't do the vaping. That's where the problems can occur. That's where the fentanyl sneaks in and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Stay on the green bud. I know it's stinky and everything, and you're going to get caught more, but it's the healthier move. So I agree, Sean.
Joe with the dealer advice. Shizzy says, I think it will be 50 bips, but they come out and talk tough at 230, which drops the market.
Oh, so the after comments. Yeah, that's what everybody looks at these days. You're right, Shizzy. It's like, what is the kind of, because the Fed's trying to give some, like, tell everybody what they're going to do next, but they're not supposed to really tell everybody what they're going to do next. So they sort of just say what they're looking at and, what they're worried about, or what where they feel it might go. And if they come out harsh like that, then that means there's another giant hike coming.
Yeah.
If they come out and say, hey, man, everything's looking okay, we're going to watch this and kind of sit on like, whatever it is, 50 or 75. And then wait and see what happens, because you see the stuff tailing off. I mean, we saw that real estate market data over the weekend. There's like I think there's like a 10 to 15% correction there coming.
Yep.
Just right, in the next year or two, which is, considering I think it was up 18% last year, you're still up.
Yeah.
But people are going to feel it. And if there's adjustables in place, or, you've got HELOCs running you up toward the limit, you need to think about that now. How to get that margin, give yourself some margin of error there so you don't get hammered too hard. But yeah, no, 50 would be, if they did 50, I think the market would like
blow up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And then the next one, they'd come in with 100.
Yeah. Sean says decent chance we're actually topping here.
On the BTC?
I would assume that's what he means.
Yeah.
Hey, this is that real estate piece you and I were talking about this weekend. Essentially, and this is U.S., so excuse the U.S.-centric thing, guys, but for us, it's a big driver. Says this is a guy that's a real estate consulting firm and YouTube channel, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, calling it a double housing crash where there's a simultaneous collapse in buyer and renter demand, basically saying that renters are consolidating and moving in families together, kids of parents, whatever, causing a drop in demand, which will have massive repercussions for real estate investors, because they have climbing interest rates, especially if they had variable whatever rates. And if people can't start making their payments on the real estate that they sold them, the rentals, then could be a problem. So anyway, saying the simple reality is that Americans can't afford to rent or buy, resulting in household consolidations. People move in with friends and family, results in a broader decline in the market. And investors are now facing higher interest rates, declining prices, and declining rents. From every angle, the profitability of real estate investment is getting attacked right now. Result is and will be a mass liquidation from real estate. investors in America who now own anywhere from 20 to 30 million single family homes, depending on the source. I think some of the larger companies, BlackRock, et cetera, don't care. Half the time they keep the ones they bought vacant for a longer term play. But there are a lot of smaller investors. Now, the other way to look at this is, a big housing crash is, especially in places like here, Miami, San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, can turn into a big opportunity for people who have cash at the bottom. So Miami, 29% of the real estate is in the hands of investors, 30% in Phoenix, 33% in Atlanta, 32% in Jacksonville, and 30% in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. So he's saying basically those are the areas that will probably have the highest risk of a much bigger collapse in the market. Anyway.
Yeah, I know, like here, Brad, a lot of people that own houses, and then they also own rental properties, say in other parts of the city, that like Hialeah and the beach, and just wherever you do multifamily housing.
Right.
And during the pandemic, everybody stopped paying the rent.
Yeah.
And they didn't get any support.
No.
For
nothing. No compensation, no help. Yeah, exactly.
So they ate it for 18 months, and they couldn't throw people out. They couldn't do anything. Well, I think most of those people have been bounced or are getting bounced soon, who took all of that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with taking it. Don't get me wrong. If you're a renter, I would have done the same thing. But for the landlords, they took that big goose egg, so they're not as cash rich. And then they got that pop last year on the 18% move, but that wasn't really much in the affordable housing area. That was more in the higher ends of the market.
Right.
And now that's going to go down, and they're going to have less tenants, so rents are going to go down.
Exactly.
Also, you look around like Merrick Park area. I was driving around there this morning, and there's like 7 new buildings up around Merrick Park that anything from, say, you have Miami to Merrick Park, that are all rentals.
Yep.
High-rise rentals. I mean, there's about it looks like about 2,000 to 3,000 to me that have just come online. So you have all this capacity coming online too, where people just started building like crazy.
Exactly.
Condos to rentals last year, because they saw that's where the demand was. And so I think the question is, these big investors, these private equity investors that own all of this, how dependent are they at this point on, can they take that 15% hit?
Yep.
Is kind of what I'm wondering, as well as these, smaller ones that you mentioned and I mentioned.
Yeah. Sean said real estate's the best indicator of a black swan, in my opinion, leading indicator.
Yeah. This isn't a situation though, like last time, where it was all bundling up, bullshit, shitty subprime paper and calling it A.
Exactly.
And then and dumping it on whoever's next. This is really something more fundamental to me. This is about that people who can't purchase at this point, also particularly in this town, can't afford rent, and it's got to be one or the other. So either more capacity has to come online, and we're kind of limited here because we've got kind of barriers. We have the ocean on one side, we've got the Everglades on the other. So you really have a narrow strip in South Florida that can't keep going west, and obviously can't go east.
All we have is up.
Yeah. So you got to come in and like infill or brownfield develop or do those types of things. And a lot of that's been going on in downtown. But it needs to be cheaper. It can't just be for the vacation buyer, for their 7th home. It has to be for someone who's, grinding it out, whatever the average salaries are. I think, what's the average in the US? Like 60?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, that's 3 times what I made when I took my first job out of college.
This guy says if only 5% of investors were to sell, that would dump 1.3 million homes onto the market, and that would double the for sale inventory overnight.
Yeah. I mean, that would have to be, there's nothing moving. So I don't know if people are just going to massively go out and list when there's no sales going on.
Right.
I think
I think what happens too is, look, the big firms like BlackRock that are just buying inventory and fucking sitting on it, they're going to buy more, right? Yeah. They'll take it up in the bottom. I didn't mean that the way that sounds. They will buy up at the bottom when the market and prices collapse. and sit on more property, which will squeeze the market and cause more demand, but less availability. Sean says property is a large part of market collateral. When value declines, we should see forced selling in markets. Yeah, like I said, I it seems like, the next year could be a good opportunity for real estate investors that have cash that aren't already in here.
Also for families, look,
Yeah.
save your cash if you can. Save your money as best you can. Get the second gig, whatever. Start mining. One of these. Get in some of these platforms and start trying to pile up some cash, because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
And the mortgage broker deals are still out there. You can still stretch and push and do different things. So, because I've been, advising people about this for a couple of, a year or so, is that this push last year was purely driven by stimulus and low interest rates, and people migrating to Florida and Sun Belt and things like that because of pandemic. It's going to normalize.
Yeah.
And tons of capacity coming online. Not everybody's making a ton of money. Stuff's going to hit the market. And, just like in 2008, there's probably going to be some foreclosures and some short sales and things like that. So, start boning up on that. Do your internet research. How do you pull those things off? Where do you find them? Stuff like that. And just, whether you're in Des Moines, Boise, Seattle or Miami, Portland, Maine, there's going to be opportunities. So this will be a chance when you can really turn your fortunes around, if you can, or kind of set a stronger foundation for the future of you, your kids, and everybody, if you can pull that off.
Yeah, absolutely.
The market will be totally aligned to helping you do it. You're just going to have some cash.
Right. Asset management firm Stone Ridge has launched a Bitcoin-focused accelerator program. I think this is really awesome, actually. I had started doing some more reading last week about the Taro protocol, and there's some really interesting shit happening there, but they're also going to focus on Bitcoin-centric Lightning Network. They're going to do 4 cohorts per year, each consisting of 8 to 12 teams, or about 30 to 50 founders per year, to New York City for 8 weeks at a time to focus on building Bitcoin-centric Lightning Network and Terra Protocol applications. So I love seeing this. I love that that there's this opportunity. Each team gets 250 grand. One winner of the cohort will get 500 grand. So a total of $750,000. So good place to start if they have relationships with other investors. Anything that kind of seeds adoption and growth of applications on Bitcoin, I'm happy to see.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. I think you sent this over to me. So
just because you're a big, you track Craig Wright. So,
well, Craig Wright and Calvin Ayre, they're both total dicks. Calvin's been paying for everything for Craig. But I love this. He tweets, "Nice piece, Dave. It's been proven." It was in response to an article about Craig Wright not being Satoshi. He says, "Nice piece, Dave. It's been proven that Satoshi is Dr. Wright. CraigWright.net to read all his work." And then this new Twitter thing, this is not, people are trying to give Musk credit for this, but it's not. They kind of culminate all of the reader comments and replies to these messages. It says, readers added context they thought people might want to know. Craig Wright has never proven he's Satoshi, and no court has yet found his evidence credible or reliable. I freaking love that shit.
I like that, because what's been annoying me lately is in all these news aggregators, all this fact checking and stuff over here. There's like 18 articles that say, pick your person is the devil. And then, oh no, 3 Pinocchio noses or something. It's like, who the frig cares? If it's a lie, don't then try to explain to everybody why it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Is pretty cool though, because this gives you, the reader can look at both things and say, well, what makes more sense to me? Well,
exactly.
Everybody's saying the bottom and this guy's saying the top. It's like, it's not hard to figure out.
Yeah. What makes the most sense to me is that 14 years ago today, Craig Wright did not post the Bitcoin white paper. That's what makes the most sense to me. So
yeah.
Anyway, it's a Bitcoin white paper day, 14-year-old paper today that fundamentally changed the opportunity for finance and governance on the planet. And so, yeah, it's definitely something to celebrate that, you know, that this has evolved and created a wave of innovation, financial applications, technology, and changes to how people think about money, but also helping people realizing what how their money is actually how their money actually gets its value and how it works. So I think it's been a definite positive for the world that the real Satoshi released the white paper 14 years ago today. Shizzy, I think, has a pending comment. Going back to what Joe was saying, I'm not sure what he means. Maybe he's going to make another comment. We'll see. Let's see. That's the real estate. Oh, this was really interesting. I'm going to post this up. The Hans Solar 21 did this analysis of stable farm yields and the best place to park $100,000 via using DeFi Llama's data, and came out with some really cool opportunities. And he goes through a few tweets about how he narrowed it down and how he got to the base of what he came up to. Basically, what he said was that this one, GMX's GLP on Arbitrum, paying 16.2% is probably the best, with the ETH GMX pair also yielding 23%. But the single, just doing the stable, got you that. Trader Joe paying 16% with AVAX. On Polygon, Matic USDC pair on Kyber Network at 35%. Fricton Labs on Solana offers 27% on Sol, and Fract HQ at 17%. Don't know what that is. And he said BSC, Polkadot, and Phantom don't seem to be worth going into search for good yields. But this is obvious. Same for the other lesser chains. After sifting through the data, he decided he would stick with GMX GLP offering between 15 and 20%. So anyway, I'll post this thread into the notes because I think it was a really interesting way that he went through and analyzed the data and how he got to the conclusions that he did.
Yeah, but how is he missing all of the, I mean, his high thing was what, 16.2%?
Yep.
I mean, I see stuff out there that's higher than that. Just go look at Spirit Swap.
Yeah, I think, well, one of that, so that's probably what would eliminate Spirit Swap is the size of the deposit, $100,000, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's how he basically narrowed it pretty significantly, was that that 100 grand makes it difficult to put it into lower TVL.
Good point.
Offerings. You sent this one over. Decentralized Uber built on Solana with USDC payments and driver payouts. They raised $9 million for this. That's impressive.
Yeah, I think I sent that over on Friday because I don't really remember it very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought, look, another Uber competitor, basically.
Yeah.
We all know the Uber model. You know what they were saying when they were in the VCs 10 years ago? They're like, this is awesome because we're going to have all these people using their cars to make us money. And in the end, we're going to hire robots so I can fire all the drivers.
Exactly.
That's what they said all the time.
Absolutely.
And so now it's like, well, fuck that.
Yeah.
Let's do an Uber where the drivers get theirs and they can't get cut out. I mean, if Uber was going to give the drivers, shares in the company and some kind of profit sharing and things like that, then I wouldn't think it was so egregious. But, they screwed them. Yeah. Or they are screwing them. So now it's like, let's try to get behind something that helps the drivers out.
Yeah. Just wish it wasn't on Solana.
Spectacular.
Yeah. This is cool though. They've designed it as a protocol so that other people can build apps on top of it. So their first app is Teleport, which is kind of an Uber competitor, but theoretically people could do all kinds of niche things on a platform like this. You could do delivery services, all the stuff that Uber does now, or DoorDash and everything else. You could do food and grocery delivery. You could do driver,
carpools,
vehicle
could you coordinate
transport
carpools,
rentals
with parents for your kids and stuff.
I don't know.
Do that.
Yeah, maybe so. So essentially,
maybe you have a network of you and your 5 other house dads or whatever, or it's the moms, and they see everybody's cars. And then when all of a sudden you can't make it to pick your kid up at lacrosse, you could immediately look and see where your 5 trusted pals are, and you could send one of those in. That's That's a
And
cool
you think
thing.
about it as a protocol, I'm sure they do allow riders to pay with a credit card, by the way, or USDC. And drivers don't have to use crypto. They can connect their bank account. But essentially, this could be a dramatic cost competition to Uber because Uber is trying to make as much as possible for themselves. But if a lot of this, gets cut out in terms of the cut that the protocol takes, then you've got a really powerful option here if they can make this thing work. That's powerful.
Yeah, it's always tough going up a super entrenched, market competitor. But I think when they start really rolling toward robots or autonomous cars, that there's going to be such friggin' PR maelstrom going on at that point that companies like this will be able to really step up and say, look, business is supposed to be about multiple stakeholders, not just the shareholders,
Yeah,
but the community, the employees, everybody. And this platform allows all the stakeholders to ensure they're
exactly.
getting theirs.
Exactly. It's kind
So
of communistic and
not really, but my point is that
money for the
you wanna see
people.
well, you want to. I'm a man of the people. I told you this only because I want everybody to work hard and invest and maybe gamble a little and do things like that to make more money.
Yep.
So everybody's got to start with something. I mean,
Eamon says
tons of people who started with nothing. So
that's right. Eamon says we should do an Uber for boat transport, sailing or motor yacht. That'd be cool. Miami could use that, definitely.
Yeah.
And Niblet says, yes, motor yacht Uber for part-time Bond villains.
Always a good time.
I love this, though. I really do. I wish they were on a different chain, but, more power to them.
Well, maybe, I bet if you go hang out at that Solana shop down in Wynwood, they're probably all hanging out down there.
There you go. You sent this over. AI-generated art sparks furious backlash from Japan's anime community. DALL-E might be the hot new thing, but outside Silicon Valley, fear and outrage are ramping up. I got to tell you, I did a couple of anime-styled things on Diffusion B a couple of weeks ago, and it comes out really nice when you choose anime style. I mean, they do for some reason, because anime is so similar, the AI really gets that and really does a brilliant job with it. So I can see how that could be threatening.
Well, because look, it's all like, it's a lot of like those examples in the article. I mean, we know it's color too, but it's all like, think almost like a pen drawing in a way.
Yeah.
So the lines are precise.
Yeah.
In real world, obviously it's, everything's blending together, more impressionistic looking to an AI engine, let's say. But, hard lines are probably much easier for them to interpret or, create because there's only so many.
Yeah. Here's an example.
I put this up because of the Doki Doki stuff.
Yeah, a Japanese artist was obliged to tweet a screenshot showing layers of her illustration software to counter accusations that she was secretly using AI. Mm-hmm. So I could definitely see how that could be a problem, right? It's like you're trying to say, hey, I did this original work, and people accuse you of using AI. Thankfully, with Illustrator, you can show all the layers that you wrote and drew. And AI right now doesn't give you layered art, but that probably will change as well, right? So it's going to be tougher and tougher and tougher for real artists to prove that they created the artwork. It may have to go back to like artists doing the work on paper or canvas and then scanning it in order to prove that they, actually created the art. It's interesting. Very interesting.
Well, it's another kind of front, it sort of came out with the artists, and we'll include anime artists in those that, most of the work they would get before, say, NFTs came along, or particularly Doki Doki, it was commissions.
Yeah.
So that's, some Yahoo calling and saying, hey, I want a picture of this. I'll give you $50. They tell you what to draw. So what artist wants someone to tell you what to draw? It's like
exactly. Yeah.
Portrait artist. Yeah, right. Sort of. If you're not creating art, to me, you're not doing art. And so this seems to kind of extend that argument to the next level. Because remember the NFTs, it was all about, the artists don't like it. And then every artist I saw liked it because, they could basically disintermediate that market and go direct to the consumers.
Yeah.
So then it went into the environmental FUD around NFTs. And of course, got dragged into that whole thing. And so now it's the AI thing around anime. So it's interesting to me that it's that, I think what we all want is artists being able to create.
Yeah.
And to me, I see this as kind of more of a threat, the AI, than say, the environmental FUD and stuff around NFTs.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting because it's got an interesting pushback, from the artists too, that we don't see in the other ones.
Absolutely.
I don't know. What do you think?
No, look, I think there's a real threat here of doing damage here to artists and the artist community. It's a concerning thing. When somebody like me with no artistic talent except for doodling can tell a computer to create an image for me that has these attributes, it's would I just do that instead of hiring somebody to do it for me?
Probably. Because it's the easy
exactly
choice.
Exactly.
But it's a different, anime. I mean, a lot of the Gen Zers are into it, and a lot of millennials. I've just watched some of the shows because I find them intriguing, but I think it really resonates with the under 20s, particularly teenagers, because as they're trying to figure out, wait, what the fuck have I been born into, and where am I, and what am I going to do, and what is my purpose, and all of those things. They're dealing with all the tough issues, trying to figure things out. I think anime speaks to them a lot because I think a lot of kids feel trapped.
Yeah.
And I think this gives them an outlet, and it shows them ways. I mean, there's always a good hero villain story in these things. There's it can go dark, it can go whatever, and they got a lot of advanced themes in there too.
Yeah.
But these Gen Zers have all grown up with all of it. It's not this. I mean, I find myself a lot just because I didn't have my daughter till I was 40 plus, was that it's almost like there's two generations in between us versus one. And so I try to be real careful about what I say and do, just because I realize they're looking at it from a whole different perspective than I am.
Right.
And, they see all these problems and opportunities that I can't even see. So to me, I just always do the mental coaching. I keep them confident, and I keep them to where they know to make the next move. Keep trying, keep going.
Yeah.
You're going to discover it. It's not as bad as you may think, because we don't really know what they're, and then throw pandemic quarantining on top of all of that, and, these kids are looking to express themselves, but, we don't really know what they're going through.
Yeah. I just created this, typing in scary clown comma anime style in diffusion beat while you were talking.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is that on the chin? I can't quite tell.
Just to make up like a chin
belly button
indent, like if you ever read.
Oh yeah.
Eamon, back on the boats thing. Eamon said, we deliver your evil lair on demand, and Niblet said, ha, evil lair as a service. Brilliant. So that's ELAS. We're starting a new category in tech. ELAS, evil lair.
Yeah, who doesn't want an evil
as a
lair?
Service? There you go.
I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily evil, I guess, but it could be your lair, otherwise known as the man cave, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Dogecoin up 80% because Elon Musk bought Twitter. I mean,
I know. I just sent that to you because we usually rage
hoping.
On that.
They're all
and
hoping.
It hit 10. I think I got to number 10 again or something.
Yeah, I'm just mad I don't have more. That's all.
I don't know. I just don't really. I don't know what people think he's going to do with it, but why wouldn't he just do a new one?
Yep, absolutely. General Motors suspended their ads on Twitter because Musk can't keep his fucking mouth shut. So,
yeah, there's a lot of this going on too, which I find intriguing. Now I'm kind of torn on this because, at the same time as I rail on social media constantly in these algorithm loops. I mean, just like we just talked about Gen Zers, how they've grown up in a different world, than we did completely. I wonder if this is my dislike of social media is that same thing, that, when I grew up, you didn't deliberately say stuff to piss people off.
Yeah.
But I get it. That's what you do in Twitter. Not you, but that's what you need to do on Twitter because that's how you get more engagement.
Exactly.
By triggering people.
Yep.
It's not my style, but maybe I'm overly sensitive to it. maybe these kids are so used to it already, or under 30s are so used to it that it's normal to them, and they don't take it. Maybe they don't.
Nah, it bothers them. It bothers
Okay.
them. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it definitely bothers them. Definitely bothers them. Eamon says, if we called it man cave as a service, we might get investigated for suspected prostitution, though. There you go.
Oh yeah, who are these hostesses? The ones in the French maid costumes? Oh yeah, no, they're customer service people.
Niblet said, "What's your cap to buying Canto? What token do you start with, and where do you exchange? How many steps to ultimately hold Canto?" So today, you still have to go through the bridge that's connected to Canto. If you go to Canto.io and you go to the docs, there's a step-by-step bridging process, but it's essentially a Cosmos bridge. And I think I did either ETH. I think I did ETH or USDC. I can't remember which, but both will work. ETH, USDC, you bridge it over. You have to do a 2-step bridge there where you have to like bridge it and then accept it, and then it's in your wallet. It really wasn't that difficult for me, but do follow those steps there. There are Gate.io and a couple of others where you can buy it directly and send it onto your wallet. No, those won't cross bridge it, but I have some news. Change has Canto integrated. They haven't opened it up yet, but soon on their web app and the mobile app, you'll be able to cross-chain exchange immediately. So any of 29 blockchains, you can take USDC from your existing wallet or ETH or any other coin and convert it and exchange it directly over to Canto, and then you'll be ready to stake or do whatever you want on the Canto blockchain. So I've convinced them to do that over the last couple of weeks. They've been working on it. They're fixing a couple of little bugs they hit trying to do it. But hopefully that'll be done by the end of the week. I'm hoping they're going to let me announce that shortly. So it'll be very easy to get on Canto. Another thing is Synapse Bridge is also voted in their community to approve using Canto on the bridge to eliminate the extra steps that you have to go through now for that as well. So Sean said, I got shadow banned on Twitter for donating to a documentary. Free world, it would seem. My 14 followers must be gutted. Listen, people, right now, let me just tell you something. If you're not following Sean on Twitter, I'm going to put his handle in the show notes. If you're not following Sean on Twitter, just get off Twitter. Delete your account. You should be following Sean on Twitter.
Yeah, he's definitely someone to follow. I follow you. I thought you had. I can't. He must be joking about.
I think he's being sarcastic.
Yeah, exactly. Because I seem to remember more than 14.
I think we talked about this last week. Near Protocol's U.S. stablecoin shutdown. But I thought they put up $40 million to save it. I haven't heard anything new about this, so I'll do some research. I'm not sure why I had this link still in here, but
I was looking at Near again over the weekend, and they're just staring on that $2.5 billion market cap, and then of course the one above it on my watch list is Solana at $12.5 billion, and then AVAX at $6.5 billion. I'm kind of like, I don't see it for any of those. Honestly, yeah. I mean, they're not my picks, so I think those are excessive.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's why I like the smaller, newer plays, like the Cantos.
Yeah.
Like I still like FTM, but it's ZK Sync. I heard Ave's coming on ZK Sync like this.
Yeah,
week.
I saw that.
Okay, so everybody start messing.
They're
around
voting on it now.
If you're messing around on Canto, you should be messing around on ZK Sync. If you mess around on Aptos, you should be in ZK Sync. If you're messing around with Shardium, you should be messing around in ZK Sync too.
Yep.
It looks intriguing. So
yeah.
Lots of opportunities. But I just think Solana. I know you're a big fan of Solana, so I don't want to beat them up too hard for you. I saw you hanging out down there at Solana Spaces, out front, doing a little streaming or whatever.
I love rebooting my blockchain.
I saw the lights go on and off a few times in there. But it's just I like the new stuff right now.
Yeah, that's cool. My buddies at vfat, I've interviewed twice about their other protocol, but they launched a portfolio manager, so I got all excited because vfat has like this command line interface, which I love. I love the normal. Here, let me show you. See, just a reminder. But they have this, command line style interface. Oh no, they've changed it. Wait a minute. Is this the real vfat?
Hey, hold on. I'm just give me a second. I'm getting off the beach and heading into the bar. I'll be right back. There we go.
You're fucking hilarious. Oh, vfat.tools. So this is their original project, right? Which tracks all kinds of yields, but it's actually, there's a lot of things that need to be fixed. So I'm not a regular user of it. Like, it's difficult. Like you can't search here, etc. But what I love is that it's a very command line interface. You interact it with prompts, etc. So vfat, this is that little trash wallet I use for demos. But vfat launched this portfolio manager, which lets you track your coins. But I was hoping it was going to be like the command line interface style, and it is not. It's a kind of standard portfolio style thing. But anyway, it is what it is. It's just I would have liked to have seen it be a little more command line interface like their old thing. But I'm going to take a deeper look at this. I just found it before the show started. This says, this article on CoinDesk said that Ether's breaking out on bullish supply demand picture. So trying to blame the price increase on the supply reductions. But you know, I'm not sure we can go there yet.
Hey, is anybody gonna, just out of curiosity, sorry to jump in, Brad, but anybody gonna be out in San Francisco of our listeners for Blockchain Week? It looks like November 3rd.
Why are you going to be?
Well, I'm not. But Greg of Shardium, he just sent a note to us. If anyone on our team is in San Francisco this week, come meet up. And he gave us an invite to a Modernist Members Club. Like drinks and chat. So if anybody's going to be in San Francisco this week, DM me on Twitter, Pathfinder305, and I'll forward this to you.
Niblett said ASCII tables are underrated. Totally agree, dude. Totally agreed. Another miner is about to go under. Argo blockchain is at risk of closing if it fails further financing. They're listed on the London Stock Exchange, trying to get new financing opportunities. Has been seeking to raise $24 million or $27 million via subscription for ordinary shares. No longer believes this subscription will be consummated. So
it's funny because it's called Argo. We're talking about the Argo movie. It's going to be hard going into like pitching meetings because everybody's going to want to tell you a joke. It's going to be like, oh, is this real or is this?
That's true. That's true.
No, it's like it's not a. I don't know. It might have been it's a subtle mistake to make because all the VC and money guys are going to be hazing the shit out of you when you walk into that meeting.
They've been selling off their mining equipment and selling off the Bitcoin that they've mined, primarily because they have a big debt to Novogratz's Galaxy Digital. So,
well,
everybody thought the bull was going to last forever, didn't they?
Yeah, but I don't. Well, I mean, you got to pay your bills, so you got to do what you got to do. But, right when we get to this point, when we hear stuff like everybody thought it was, the way we're feeling now, it's like if it took what I would call at this point the capitulation move down. Where's my hands? Down. It's going to force liquidations. It's going to force people, out of the game. It's going to force people to just say, fuck it, throw their hands up and just liquidate. That kind of stuff has to happen to me. Blood in the streets kind of thing, before it really makes a hard move back the other direction. Yeah. So, I'm just waiting on that. And unfortunately, I don't feel it. I mean, I guess fortunately or unfortunately, I don't really feel it. A big capitulation move anywhere right now, other than maybe real estate next year. Right. So, but I want it to happen because I want that V, that deep V. Yeah. But, I think more of this is coming.
All right, Joe, let's wrap it up, buddy.
All right, man.
Niblets, Sean, Eamon, Shizzy, and James, thank you so much for participating today. We love having you here. Thank you, everybody that's been listening or watching. We appreciate you being here. If you like what we're doing, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It does a lot to help us boost, so we would really appreciate you doing that for us. Also, if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and click the little bell so you get notified. And don't forget to please give this video a thumbs up. It also helps boost us with the YouTube algo. We think Joe's done a in-depth technical analysis of that, and he's going to let you all know how that came out. But
go up.
Thank you, everybody. We love and appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Joe, thank you for being here. Happy Halloween. I hope everyone has a safe and happy time. Don't eat all your candy at once. And, according to the Trumpers, the fentanyl's out there. So, be careful. All those, I think it was the evil immigrants who were going to send fentanyl out on Halloween or something. I don't know the latest.
No, it's the
story.
Chinese, man. Come on. It's the Chinese.
Yeah, that's it. Must be that. The
Now,
Chinese are shipping the fentanyl to the illegal immigrants and then putting them in houses so that people will go to the door and trick or treat, and then the children will be addicted.
No. They're sending it to the illegal immigrants in Mexico, and then they're sneaking across the border.
Oh, and then they come across, but they have to give them a house so they can give out the candy.
Right. And so that's a Chinese private equity fund that owns.
That's it. That's it. They're buying and it's going to get even worse next year because of all the real estate that's going to be on the market. I love how you tied that in. Nice connector.
Yeah, no, of course we're joking here, everyone.
Yeah.
And
have a great day, Joe.
You too, buddy. Have fun
care.
tonight, and everybody be safe. We'll see you tomorrow.